If you're paying any more than $45 for this, reevaluate your life. I'm sorry, reevaluate your life. Hey guys, welcome back. Guessed it, I'm finally doing a breakdown of all of the God of Fire clones, and today we're actually going to start with all the Middle Eastern ones. Without further ado, alright guys, so we're back with the God of Fire clone series. So which of the Middle Eastern houses is really the best for duping this? Let's talk about it. So let's start from the left here. So first we have Ophidian Mango Bliss by Paris Corner. And this one, honestly, I gotta say, if they wanted to say it's inspired by or a twist of, I'd say yeah. But this one, you know, on paper it's okay, but when you spray it on skin, it has this like really pungent lemon pledge kind of smell. At least in the beginning, like the mango, the ginger really aren't noticeable. It's just like this, you know, pow, like lemon pledgy kind of smell. And then like the mango then comes in. Like when you spray it on like a test strip, it smells fine enough, but when you spray it on the skin is what really makes this one kind of venture off. And then as it dries down too, it does have this kind of a resinous smell. It's very similar to like how some incenses are. So like, you know, Aromatics mentions that in his breakdowns too of that, and I think that's very accurate for that one. Then we have Lattafa's Opulent Debate. This one I feel like is also a okay clone, but it doesn't really hit home. And the reason is, the citruses are kind of a little bit more forward in this. So you get a little bit more of that lemon and not as much of that mango. This one actually draws a parallel to another one, but I think that other one does a little bit of a worse job. And I'm actually going to skip over Vulcan F for a second to talk about that one. And this is Gemini Perfume by Riffs. They're kind of hinting at what they did here. This definitely is not a God of Fire clone. I would call this an inspiration or a twist of. The reason why I say that, and the reason why I am drawing parallels to Lattafa Opulent Debate, this one also kicks up the citrus a bit, but it also kicks up the florals. Like with this, you get a lot of like sweet floral kind of vibe and not too much mango. If you're not a fan of that mango, you know, but you want something still sweet and, you know, kind of floral in that kind of God of Fire DNA area, that's what this is. But if you like the citrus aspect of this, but you want something that doesn't lean feminine, then you want to get this. So that's the reason why I compare these two and why I skipped Vulcan F for a second. So Vulcan F, I think this is probably the top guy here for good purpose. It definitely is very close to the DNA. I think I actually missed. So it gets very close to the DNA of God of Fire. It definitely has great projection, and its longevity is actually pretty good. I've worn this a couple of times, and I'm a big hairy guy. And I'm South Asian. So like if I start to smell, I start to smell. So I've worn this on a hot summer day, and honestly, it performs so well. There's only one other one in this entire area that I'd say is maybe a little bit more favorite to me because of its performance, and I'll get to that, all right? But this one right here is probably the best. The only issue with this is once it runs out of stock online, which it has, a lot of people start to scalp and sell it at like $60, $70, $80. To be honest, it should not be any more than 40. 42, 43 the most. If you're paying any more than 45 for this, reevaluate your life. I'm sorry. Reevaluate your life, because there are better options and we're getting to those. So now we already know what the OG smells like. If you don't, whoops, maybe I should have went to that first. But God of Fire is a mango forward citrus musk fragrance, and honestly, it does lean a little bit feminine, as do a lot of these iterations, which means when I say this one's a feminine version, it means it really does encapsulate what it means to be a feminine fragrance. So that's what we get with Gemini. We get a lot more feminine, but with the OG, you get mango, citrus, musk, right? And it's really lemon you're getting. So it's like mango, lemon, ginger, and then a bit of musk at the base there. But the key is the mango in this is so balanced and well that it doesn't feel like it's this like sweet, sticky gourmand fragrance that could become the case with a fruit such as mango, but it doesn't have that kind of, vibe. Then we have Scepter Malachite. Now, Scepter Malachite, I think this was like the original one that was, coming out with tons and tons of hype, and people loved it. This one, honestly, I have not gotten the best performance out of. It also is a little bit more of a fresh bite and not in a fun way. It's more of like a muted way. So it's like a muted version of these two, or these, yeah, I'd say these two. Because it doesn't necessarily have the same kind of citrus punch this does, but it definitely leans a little bit more citrus than these two and a little bit less than this. So if I were to rank like the citrus profile, I'd rank this right below this in the citrus profile. So somewhere like here, but the longevity performance of it are not the best, but they are good for the price point. All right, we're down to our final two. And this is You Are My Fire by Shakot Perfumes. This one has been impossible to find. I actually had to get this off a marketplace, and as you can tell, it has a lovely spray atomizer. This one I think does a very good job at getting close, but it's a little bit more sweet, like sweet, like sugar sweet. And it's not like sticky gourmand, like no, it doesn't get too much there, but the sweetness of it does smell like someone kind of just sprinkled a little sugar on top. It's not sickly sweet, but it's noticeable. As far as the performance goes for this one, the performance for it is on skin, I think I got, 4 hours in the air, and then it kind of went away, and there was a skin scent for maybe another hour and a half or something like that. Yeah, not the best, but it also is something that you really can't find, so you don't have to worry about that, but it does have a good atomizer. And then we have my personal favorite. This is Mango Ice by Gulf Orchid. This has to be my favorite Gotta Fire clone, dupe, twist, inspiration, whatever it may be. Now this one also is a little bit more fresh, but not fresh in terms of the sense this one is. It's more fresh in terms of like the tweak it does to the notes. And I guess that's why they call it Mango Ice. They wanted to have a slightly fresh aspect. So if you were saying, oh, I love this, or I love Gotta Fire, but I'm not sure if I'm in love with like how sweet it is and, how it does on my skin, or, you don't like the mango vibe too much as a guy, but you kind of like it. So if that's your case, or if you're kind of wondering, should I, shouldn't I? This is a $30 bottle that is gonna blow your socks off. Honestly, it captures the mango well, it captures the citrus well. The ginger does play a little bit of a backseat here, but I think that is to encapsulate that freshness, that the curve that they wanted to add to this. So honestly, that's what these are looking like. So if you want something faithful to the OG, you want to go with Vulcan F. If you want to go with something more feminine, you want to go for Riffs. If you want something a little bit more citrus forward, you want to go with Lataf's Opulent Debate. If you want something that's gonna bring you out with more of a fresh, fun twist, then Gulf Orchid's Mango Ice. These are not bad. I would say that if you can find Shakot Perfumes or Scepter Malachite for cheap and you don't want to break the bank, then you can definitely go for it. It definitely does not do a bad job on the DNA, but as it tends to dry down, it does have a little bit more of the ginger come out more than anything else, but it's not going to be in your face or cause the mango note to be completely gone. It's just the ginger is going to kind of come a little bit forward with that one. But this one, I could not recommend really as a Gotta Fire clone or inspiration. As a fragrance on its own, it definitely is fun. I just don't like the initial opening where it's kind of like Lemon Pledge. It could be because this fragrance is still new and it still hasn't macerated or matured. Well, technically it's actually oxidation, but I'm not going to get into nerd talk today. But I think that could be the reason why this one's a little bit odd. I'm not sure, but I'll give it another smell, another whiff test in a couple of weeks to see if anything's changed with that one. That's it for today, guys. like, comment, subscribe. Guys, I'm going to be doing a giveaway soon. This is just the God of Fire, you know, Middle Eastern breakdown. I'm going to be doing the American companies, like the niche ones, I guess you can call them. You know, you have Alexandria, Montaigne, Central Obsessions, Dupe, which the last one I personally wouldn't recommend as a company to purchase from just because of their customer service, but I won't get into the Dupe and their online stuff now. See you guys next time.